To understand literature of the Enlightenment period, we'll once again consider our two primary questions. What is literature about, and how is the literature written? First, let's consider the question, what is literature of the Enlightenment about? The Enlightenment period is also known as the neoclassical period, or the Age of Reason. The emphasis of the period was on the power of the human mind. René Descartes said famously,
"I think, therefore I am."
and you see this theme very clearly in the content of the literature of the time. The Enlightenment really grew up in France, in what was called salons, where people would gather to discuss with reason and eloquence issues about politics, science, philosophy, and art. The literature of the time embodies the culture of these salons. The Enlightenment believed that society, if guided by reason rather than superstition, could progress to an ideal society where justice, liberty, and prosperity flourished, and the movement spread throughout Europe and over to North America, where it influenced all of the founding fathers of the United States. With this background in mind, we can see more specifics about what literature of the Enlightenment is about. In this time period, writers spent a lot of time exploring what society looks like and how society functions. You don't have a lot of isolated souls in the Enlightenment. The writers focus instead on how the individual operates in the context of larger social groups and communities. In addition, there is a common philosophy during the time that places faith in progress. This belief that society and the human condition as a whole can be made better if we just apply reason and good morals. When you read the excerpts from Candide, you'll see that Voltaire is actually mocking the extreme form of this philosophy, which believes that we're living in the best of all possible worlds. Enlightenment authors also have a strong respect for tradition in the past, often modeling their writing and their philosophy on the Greek and Roman classics, which they believed embodied the height of reason and intellectual power. Now that we know some of what Enlightenment literature is about, let's look at the question, how is literature of the Enlightenment written? During the Enlightenment, the genre of satire became very popular. Satire is a literary form that uses irony or mockery to highlight some important aspect of social critique. Candide is a great example of a satire, as Voltaire is making fun of a lot of different kinds of people and a lot of different kinds of thinking in order to expose what's wrong with society. Another important aspect of how Enlightenment literature is written is the importance of clarity, reason, and balance. Enlightenment thinkers believed that reason should guide our lives and decision-making, and their writings reflect that idea. There are a lot of clear, cogent arguments written during the time, based in logic and good evidence. And even the poetry conveys a clear sense of balance and proportion, with beautifully worded and balanced couplets being the purest poetry of the time, reflecting the worldview of the period. As we do the readings for this unit, you should be considering these characteristics in terms of our primary questions: what is the literature about, and how is the literature written?